In today's video, we're going to talk about how to create a winning enterprise sales strategy to differentiate your business. Now, it's critical that we start thinking about the strategy from the beginning, and we must aim to differentiate ourselves from the very first interaction that you have with a client. What I'm going to share with you today is the lessons I've learned on my personal journey working for startups here in Australia and then taking those products into the US and other geographies following this strategy that I'm going to share with you. So let's get into it. Hey sales world. Now, when it comes to sales strategy, the strategy is where differentiation is crafted. The process or methodology is where it is implemented. So you must have the right strategy, and differentiation is not just a product thing. We must create the right strategy that creates an unfair advantage for our business when we go to compete against those already in the market and those new entrants looking to get into the market. We can actually take lessons from other scenarios and see how the right strategy can ward off large competitors. For instance, think of the Spartans in the movie 300. 300 Spartans were able to hold off the massive armies for a long period of time. And that's exactly what we're trying to create. We're trying to create a competitive advantage by doing things the competition aren't doing. Now, there's a number of different ways we can create a strategy. A differentiated strategy could involve pricing strategy, customer service strategy, and engagement strategy. And that's largely what we're going to speak about today. Now, when I first got into B2B SaaS technology back in 2015, we were selling a cloud-based engineering drawing management system that was largely relevant to large power utilities, water utilities, mining utilities. Now, one of the significant hurdles we had to overcome was the incumbent competition. Now, if you watched any of my last videos, you would know that SAP or Autodesk or ProjectWise were the incumbent competition in the market. So we couldn't simply compete the way they were competing. A lot of those businesses, once they get to a certain size, just wait for the client to come to the market and say, hey, I need an engineering drawing management system. The big Fortune 500 companies go, yep, that's what we do. Do you want to buy us? They have the reputation, the client testimonials, case studies, the track record. It's an easy decision for these large corporate businesses to go to. It's less risky. You may have heard of the saying, no one never got fired for buying IBM. And it's exactly the same case in this scenario. Well, what I learned in my journey was we had to start engaging earlier on the journey of when their target clients were starting to buy. People just don't come to market. Large businesses or enterprise just don't come to market. They do a lot of research. They do a lot of business case approvals. They do a lot of work before they're ready to start engaging with the market. So I had to figure out a way to get ahead of the incumbent competition because they just didn't have to do that anymore. So this is so important because if you're a differentiated product, which what we were, we had to craft the problem in a unique way. Our solution was different. Our solution was left of center, but provided far superior outcomes than what those existing companies could provide. They had far more features than what we ever would. So we had to change our engagement strategy. And the first part of that is becoming an expert in how you target markets or you target clients in the industries that you want to engage with, how they buy. Now, what I've learned in my extensive experience over the last 9 years is everyone basically buys the same way. They need to see value. And if it's an enterprise deal, they need to be able to quantify what that value is that they'll receive. A large part of that is understanding what those current business processes are costing them in their business. A significant part of the sales strategy should include helping your target clients quantify the current business processes in their business. Now, this serves two purposes. One is to create the law of reciprocity, where they really appreciate you going above and beyond in helping them get an understanding of their current impacts in their business so they can get business case approval. Or two, it takes indecision off the table because what you're doing is measuring how inefficient their current business is. So hopefully they're in a position to say, we cannot sustain business practices in this manner. It's costing too much money, or it's putting the business at too much risk. We have to move forward to a solution. Once I crafted this in my sales strategy, it moved very quickly from trying to sell to highlighting the current impacts in a business through a variety of different methods to the markets I was dealing with. Different markets wanted to receive information in different ways, so I'd simply craft that approach accordingly. And then once they realized they could not sit in that current processes anymore, then they were like, okay, we're looking for a solution now to move forward. Now, one of the benefits of engaging early is you could craft the problem to really highlight the impact that your solution has. Really maximize the outcomes that you provide to those target clients by saying, hey, your problems are X, Y, and Z. Well, the best solution is actually our product with features A, B, C. And that's how you maximize your value. Now, this also demonstrates a substantial ROI. We have to go above and beyond what our competitors are providing. If your competitors are providing an ROI of 10x or 15x, and you're only providing an ROI of 10x or 15x, where's the benefit of going with you? You need to produce a substantial ROI, 2-3 times more than your competitors. You can only do that when you have an influence on how they see the problem, how they measure it, by showing them both indirect and indirect impact, because that's how you build up the ROI of your platform. It's a mistake to think your competitors know the problem as well as what you do, as your business does, because you're subject matter experts and they're not. Now, just to summarize that quickly, a key to differentiating your business and creating a winning enterprise sales strategy is going back further into the buying journey of your target clients, or understanding where you have a competitive advantage in engaging with your target markets where your competitors aren't. If you're waiting for a tender to come out with large enterprise, which is common, but you have large incumbent competitors like I did, they have massive tender teams. You may not have that. You could be a startup and it's just you or as the founder or one other salesperson. Very difficult to compete with professional tender teams if you haven't crafted the problem and what the solution should look like. So you need to go back further into that journey and have an influence. Now, another key part of developing the right sales strategy is understanding exactly where your business is at the time and what part of the market your business is suited for to go after. Now, I have created a video in the past about understanding your yearly addressable market. And in that, I talk about when you're going for the early adopters of the technology adoption curve through to the early majority, late majority, and laggards. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link to the video here. Go back and have a look. You must understand who your target audience is at the size of your business growth. The reality is, large enterprise businesses, if you're a startup, are probably not going to go with you if you don't have your ISO 27001 documentation or your ISO accreditation, compliance accreditation, all this required information that they need to do business with you. It can be a real headache for a startup or a young company to provide this information. You may simply not be ready. So it's about understanding who your ideal clients are at the right size of your business growth and what you can handle. And then finding a way to outsmart the competition and compete where they're not as strong. An interesting way small businesses who are growing and trying to compete with competitors is customer service. You only need to look no further than LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a massive networking platform that is dominant in the B2B space. Their customer service is very, very difficult to get hold of because they simply have market share. They're trying to make it as difficult as possible to filter out some of those problems that they don't need to deal with. But if you look at a new platform like Polo or Polo.io or other SaaS platforms, their customer service is exceptional because their stage of their business growth means that they have to differentiate differently and do what competitors are doing. Those two examples are different platforms. I just want to give you an example of how a newer company has exceptional customer service as a differentiator, and a large incumbent competitor like LinkedIn, they do not compete on customer service. They compete on the mass market or their members. They compete on a different playing ground. Just to summarize, now a key to creating a winning sales strategy is how you engage with your target clients. Examine where your competitors are winning market share, and then you have to go back further into the buying journey. Now, I have a book called Startup Sales Secrets where it helps you create a winning sales strategy based off 3 core principles. Now, you'll be able to find that in the comments below or in the description of this video. And if you found this useful, please hit the like button, come back again. I have my channels dedicated to helping you implement the right sales strategy for your business at the right size of your organization. So thanks a lot. See you next time.